Okay. Okay, so these are my thoughts and my opinions, so please don't come for me, okay? We can just have a conversation, a grown level conversation about this. So you saw the title. I religiously watched Love is Blind. My friend yesterday, my sister friend was like, are you watching Love is Blind? And I was like, no, which feels weird to say because I used to watch it all the time. And I haven't seen this recent season or this season right before it, I think, because they come out like clockwork. And here's the reality, right? I'll say this first, right? From my marriage coach perspective, I think about the messages that we get, and reality TV is part of that. And we grow up and we grow out of it and we see things differently. And I think about messages we get for even like songs, like all the R&B songs, and we're just like, "You are my everything. I'm nothing without you." It's kind of problematic. It's dramatic and it seems romantic, but it's also quite problematic, right? And that's part of the messaging. But we get it as kids and we also get it as adults. And I don't know, like as someone who loves and really enjoys experimental relationship shows, right? So Married at First Sight, Love is Blind, The Ultimatum, those kinds of things where you can get into the nitty gritty of relationship dynamics. I'm not necessarily a fan of like Pretty Singles on the Beach type of thing, but I'm not mad at it. My girlfriend got me to watch a season of Love is Blind, not Love is Blind, it was Love Island, and it was entertaining. And we talked about it and we kikied it and it was fun. But I like experimental relationship shows. Love is Blind is one of them. I thought I was going to just ride that wave after that first season dropped. I was like, you got me. I'm going to ride that wave until the wave stops. But the wave stopped for me a couple of seasons ago. So we're gonna 3, 2, 1 this thing in terms of why I don't watch it anymore. And you can tell me if you watch it down below, if you felt like this season was worth it after you hear my 3, 2, 1, and let me know. So 3, let's start with 3. I feel like production swung the pendulum way too far. They were like, people love mess, drama, betrayal, fraud, and they forgot that people also love, that people also love to see things work out. They like to see characters that, not characters because they're people, but they like to see people that they've invested some time in win and succeed. And I'm not saying that people don't like mess. We know what's going to happen. Somebody's going to run into, a bathroom to get some privacy because they're breaking down. And while they can't get the cameras in there, the sound people are right there. So you can hear everything. They're going to put it on a little caption so that you can see it, so you can read it. You know what they're saying, what they're whispering. And so it's going to be a whole thing. The drama, the intrigue. Yeah, I get it. It's entertaining. Even though these are people's lives, people who signed up for this, producers who are doing what they're getting paid to do. And yet and still the pendulum doesn't have to swing all the way there, because while folks like some mess, they also, let's both and this, like to see things work out and blossom and be amazing, right? Like that's what we enjoy. It's a show about relationships, it's a show about love, and the concept is great. So let me hopefully, okay, so in case you don't know the concept, I feel like anyone who clicked on this probably watches Love is Blind, but I want to do a quick comparison because one of the first like experimental relationship shows that I watched was Married at First Sight. Y'all remember Married at First Sight? It's probably still on. I stopped watching Married at First Sight, but mostly it probably went down the same vein as Love is Blind, but mostly because I just got fatigued with the show. It was just like so many seasons. Like, you know what I mean? I couldn't keep up with Grey's Anatomy either. Like, it's just too much. I just can't anymore. I've devoted too much time and I'm done. So I couldn't watch that. But I love the concept. For those of you who don't know, Married at First Sight is basically a team of experts comes together, right? So I think it was like a theologist and a sexologist and a sociologist and like a counselor, and they get together and they give these assessments and they have interviews and they talk to these people, all these singles, and they match you based upon what they think they think you're going to be compatible with, who you can actually sustain a healthy relationship with, because you talk about your values and your finances and your, what you want out of an intimate partner and all of these things. And so they go in and then they match like couples, and then these single people agree to marry this person sight unseen, okay, and go through the process of that marriage, and then at the end decide whether they're going to stay married or they're going to get a divorce. And over the course of time, they also have, support. These people come pop in and help them through hardships, because that's a lot. I still remember that first season when that girl walked down the aisle and saw that groom and just wanted to hightail it out of there. She just started busting into tears because she wasn't physically attracted to them. And they ended up being one of the more successful couples in the beginning of Married at First Sight. Okay, goes to show you something. I thought that concept was brilliant. I was like, a modern day arranged marriage based upon these values and things, and then you just jump in feet first, and you have the support to move you through that choice. Love is Blind is kind of like the opposite. You get to make the choice whether or not you want to propose to this person, propose marriage. But you make that choice after you spend countless hours and hours talking to them, getting to know them, asking them questions, seeing if you have a connection that goes beyond the physical. So you're not even seeing this person, you don't even know what they look like, right? And so I was like, yeah, this is great. This is like two sides of the same coin. I'm loving it. And I genuinely did enjoy Love is Blind for many, many seasons. And then, I mean, and there was definitely a point where it started to shift. So that first, that my third reason as to why I stopped is because I feel like they swung the pendulum too far. They were supposed to be vetting people. And a lot of these people, if you remember, a lot of these people for Love is Blind, they're singles that say that they were plucked from Instagram. Now on Instagram, these singles are putting all that information on Instagram and they're tagging people. You can easily see if they have like a girlfriend or they're in a relationship or they got a situationship, where they were vacationing and what they were doing on their little reel video or their little TikTok and who they tagged. You can reach out to that person. If you sincerely have a team of producers that are vetting these people, you can see them for the frauds that they may be before you reach out to them, etc. And you can do just some surface level due diligence, okay, and see what's what. So it does beg the question, are these people purposely picking fraudulent people to be on the show? To me, in my opinion, yes, they are, because they swung the pendulum all over there and decided that people like to see mess and fraud and betrayal more than they want to see successful relationships work out, which is the whole premise of the show. And so I think you need to get back to the gray area and kind of that middle ground, okay, where I know you're going to have your drama and you're going to do your thing, but it isn't so controlled and it isn't so contrived where you're like creating this by getting fraudulent people to come into the mix. You're still going to do your thing. I get it. I know. I get it. It's reality TV, and yet and still. So I didn't like that. So two for me. Okay, remember I just told you about Married at First Sight. They have all those experts. They have the sexologists and the theologists and sociologists and the other ologists. All the gists come out to help you. And even after you get married, when you move in together, they give you exercises. They have come to your apartment and have conversations with you to help you through hardship. Love that about it. Love that there was support. These Love is Blind folk that were single 2 seconds ago and now are engaged, they don't have any support. They don't have anyone coming in those milestones. So you know how many times I'm yelling at the TV like, why would you communicate it like that? You don't have to run out the door. Let's just sit down, take some space. I'm like having a moment like, look, if I was there, we would have this conversation and we'd be able to bridge this gap and we'd be able to get to some things, because they're going through a lot. You get engaged, you go on the honeymoon, that's all fun. You see if you're physically attracted to each other, you're on your honeymoon. Okay, let them do that. Then when they come back to the real world and they have to now be in a situation where they're moving in with somebody, these people, they haven't lived with anybody, maybe a cat or a dog or a fish or some roommates. They have a bachelor pad, bachelorette pad. They have no clue what it means to really like meld your life and your stuff with somebody. This would be a great opportunity for there to be some navigating some expectations and stuff at that point. Some support around that if they need it. If they're like, we cool, we talked about this, we've had mature conversation, great. But if they need it, it'd be nice for them to have support. When they have to go meet the family and the friends, it'd be nice for them to have the support. Because sometimes that's where things go really, really awry. I remember the season before last, like things would just be going awry, in those moments where if they had some support and guidance, they might not go as awry. So I don't like, my number two is that I don't like that there's absolutely no support for them. They're just thrown to the wolves. And again, I get it. This can be the nature of a lot of reality shows, right? Even in the early 2000s. Yes, I did watch the America's Next Top Model joint. Those girls didn't really have a lot of support after the fact, right? They didn't have someone helping them through the challenging parts of the industry and things like that. And then you have I watched the Biggest Loser documentary too, because I was also a Biggest Loser person because I love the transformational show, right? And this was like, I was rooting for their success. I wanted them to lose the weight. I wanted them to feel better and feel healthier. But the reality is, with the Biggest Loser, they were in a controlled, contained environment where their work, all they had to worry about in the whole time was not kids or bills or work or classes or anything they were, like organizations they were spearheading. All they had to do was be there, work out, talk to the nutritionist, and weigh in, right? And while there was other problematic things going on, I know, yes, it would not have taken much for them to support these people because they were like, we didn't have the support to support them. We didn't have the the staff rather, right? We didn't have enough staff, enough resources to support them when they left. Bullshiggity, because no, you could have had a conversation with everyone when they left, the contestants as they left. There was enough staff and resources to have an exit conversation. Like it could have looked something like this. Okay, so where do you live? Okay, great. Detroit, you live in this neighborhood. Let's see what grocery stores are in your neighborhood. Okay, these are the best grocery stores for you to shop at to get these things. Let's make a list and kind of some meal prep plans for you in terms of breakfast, lunch, and dinner, things you can take to work, things you can eat. Let's sit down and just make a quick list, make a quick, menu plan, some snacks that you can take from work that are healthy. These are your little cheat snacks, if you want to have that a few times a week. Bam. Okay, what gyms are next to you? Since now you've gotten used to working out. Okay, this is a gym next to you. Okay, let's make sure that you get a gym membership. There's these three gyms. This is the price. What can you afford? Okay, this is the gym you're going to call. You're going to make the membership and then see what their personal trainers are like. Like it could have just been an exit conversation. It could have been 30 minutes and they would have at least went home with some semblance of a plan while they're living their regular lives, going back to work, going back to their responsibilities, going back to raising kids and the stress. Because a lot of times the weight stuff was mindset and it was, I don't know what else to do. And they just needed a little guidance. And this is not perfect, but it's something. And I feel like with Love is Blind, they don't have any support. You're kind of thrown, you're tossed to the wolves of life and love to figure it out without anyone steering you. And you were single like 2 seconds ago. Think about this for a second. You were single like like a couple of weeks ago, a week ago, a few days ago. You were single. Because I think the whole thing is maybe 10 weeks. Maybe. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong if they know, like the whole process. But you were just single. It might be even shorter than that. Okay? It might be even shorter than that. Because I feel like they have maybe a month after they choose. I feel like they spend like 4 weeks, so it might only be 8 weeks. 4 weeks in the thing, maybe 4 to 6 weeks in the pods. And then I feel like once they're in their honeymoon, it's like a 4 week countdown, like a month countdown to the wedding. So yeah, I no. This clouds is not helping me right now. I'm burning up, y'all. But we out here. So they were just single and now they're engaged. And this so to not have support is wild. It's wild. So that was another reason. I just feel like in general, they should have some kind of support. Just put in some type of effort for some support. The last reason for me why I stopped watching Love is Blind, my number one reason, even though they're all kind of top contenders, is that I kept comparing the seasons as it kept going and getting to me worse to the feeling I got in that first season. And because even though it's contrived and it's reality TV, it's something about that felt real. So he did something correct because it felt real. Y'all remember Lauren and Cameron in that scene, and he was like, "I think I love you," and he was like, "Think I love you too." Like it was like what? Like we felt like we were watching something magical and real happen, and that, ironically, that's what got people hooked on the show. That's the couple that people remember, Lauren and Cameron. They remember them. And somehow, though that is what got people hooked, you go further down the line and you swung the pendulum so far that it no longer feels real. It no longer has that feeling of like tangibility and success and love winning and that people figuring it out in love and giving people a sense of hope and it's that feel good feeling. People want to feel good. So in the midst of everything that's going on in the world today, there's always some mess happening. And then there'll be a time where the media will do a surge and collect all the mess and just throw it at us all at once. And we're in that season. It's getting thrown at us all at once, even though it's always a mess. And we're in that season of getting thrown. We want something that feels good. So give people something that feels good. Give them that hope and that success and that love. I kept like, are we getting back to the reason people got hooked on the show in the first place? And in the midst of AI and avatars talking to you on video and everything not really being stripped down and just real anymore, I feel like people crave that more. I could be wrong, but I feel like people crave that more. Okay. So 3, 2, 1. Those are the reasons why I stopped watching Love is Blind. I don't know. Maybe you can convince me. If you tell me, hey, this season, Imani, is giving season 1, season 2, like it's giving early Love is Blind, you should check it out. Let me know in the comments below if you watch it. Do you still currently watch Love is Blind? Like, are you an avid watcher? Did you drop off like I did? What made you drop off of Love is Blind if you did? Because when I think about relationships and adults who are watching these shows and how it reinforces or combats some of the messaging that we got probably as a kid and still get as an adult, I'm like, okay, we can be a little less problematic. Okay. That is what I feel in my spirit. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on things. I will, I will read them. Hopefully, if you write them, and I'll read them and we can continue that conversation. So, hey, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please like it. I appreciate that. Every like, every comment, every view. Thank you so much for watching. If this is your first time here, bienvenidos. If this is your second, bienvenidos otra vez. Welcome, welcome again. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you taking out some of your precious time to have this conversation with me. And here, I'm Imani Aieshah. I'm here having conversations with you and talking us through how to feel empowered and feel good in the relationships that we have with ourselves and with the relationships that we have with our partners, right? So there's a lot of things on self-development and self-growth, things that I'm learning since we moved abroad, and how we can be better communicators and better connect through the chaos in relationship. Oh, okay. All right. Sorry. Something had come up. And I was like, what's that pop-up mean? Because it's hot now. And I thought my phone was about to be like, okay. So yeah, that's what we talk about here on this channel. If that's your vibe, please subscribe. And I am going to see you tomorrow.